everybody wants to know what type is Dave Chappelle. He's the same type as Kanye. Come on, it's not fucking hard to see. A little bit different of a guy as Kanye, but same fucking type. Double feminine, INTJ, cranked all the way up, crazy guy. And this will be a good example of what we're talking about this week with like the S and the N, the observer flips and the observer coins. Well, this guy with NI at the top, it's going to be like, you guys don't even know, here's the missing sensory. It's kind of weird to see that, right? Because if you're looking at the sensories at the top, they're like, hey, I have all these facts, but I'm on confusion about the understanding. And everyone's like, well, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, me too. So what do you do when you have intuition at the top? You're like, I understand what's going on, but I'm shocked and traumatized and freaked out by the sensory. And all the other types are like, how the hell are you afraid of the sensory? Here's his official type. It's official. I have an official type. Can I have a bubble? I need it to be official. Double feminine, so it's masculine NI, masculine FI. And you get the David Goggins effect, where you get a very dangerous person when they have the masculinity in their introverted world like that. Which is what's great about Dave, is that he does show his dark side and his light side, because he's just fucking had enough, and so he's letting it all out, which is what I love about him. All right, so looking at the thing real quick, so this is the wacky do here of like, he's understanding. So he's like, yeah, I know the corporation's there to fuck me over. I know Hollywood's there to fuck me over, but what's really hard is when it actually happens in the sensory. When it's actually happening, because like what you'll see in his clips is he's trying to like just jump over that. He's like, hey guys, I know that Hollywood's here just to fuck everybody over, but can we just maybe skip that? Can we just jump over that? And they're like, no, we're still gonna drag you into the mud, and we're still gonna fuck you over, and here's all the sensory of how and when and where we're gonna do it. And you know, here's the money, here's the Netflix deals where we're gonna specifically fucking rake you through the coals. That's what's really hard for him. And it's almost doubly hard because he's like, I knew that was coming. God damn it. All right, let me play the clips. You're gonna hear the abstract of he's gonna be classifying the industry as a monster, and then they'll be getting into the specifics.
I believe that they gave me a raw deal because this fucking industry is a monster. It's the same monster that these Me Too bitches was trying to tell you about. But they hate the monster for how it fucks. And I hate that monster for how it eats. But my God, man, it's the same monster. When I quit the show, all my friends would say, well, f them, Dave. Why don't you just do Chappelle's show at another network? Yeah. And why doesn't a slave run from one plantation to another plantation? Because the master over there might be nicer. My God, man, I was trapped. You know what, tell you the truth?
My God, I was trapped. So it was like, you're seeing the N classifying the whole thing. So looking at the industry from a bird's eye view, it's a big monster. Well, why don't you go to this one or that one? That's what everybody says. Well, if you have a problem with I remember this in the RC business. Well, if you have a problem with FedEx shipping, why don't you use UPS shipping? I'm like, it's just going to be the same so fucking quick. And it really is. So it's just the same industry. And so he's going to see that. He's not going to fall for the specifics, right? But then it's going to be hard for him because he's like, okay, so what exactly, Dave, what exactly did they do to you? What exactly in sensory was the problem?
When I quit my show, they said I was crazy. What was crazy about it? I just didn't want to do it anymore. They said I smoked crack. That's impossible. I was a devout Muslim. I didn't smoke or drink. But I do now, bitch, because you ruined my life. If you're a shareholder at Viacom, then I'm talking to you. Because all that that they do to us, well, they do everything for their shareholders. That's what they told me. So if you're a shareholder in that company, tell them it's wrong. And if you don't believe that it's wrong, then f you too. You should know what's in the hot dogs you eat.
And look at all the analogies. You should know what's in the hot dogs you eat. Now, the shareholders, remember, if you're Savior Blast, the bad guys have to be and only can be the Savior Consumes. So the Consumes, the shareholders, the greedy people, like those are obviously the bad guys. And if you're Consumed, the Blasters are, et cetera, et cetera. But again, what exactly is he talking about? He's like, well, they cut me off because I didn't want to do it anymore. Like, can I know more about that? Like, I don't know all the details of his story, believe it or not. I haven't gone into all the fucking sensories of his story, kind of limited with time, plus my fucking demons, and I don't fucking want to. But I would be curious on, tell me, what are the specifics of that? You just leaked out, well, I just didn't want to do it anymore. Oh, really? Because I do know a lot of people of your type, and I do see that a lot. And I do see with this type that they don't know or give a shit how much it fucks over everybody. Think about Will Smith. Here's a good example. Where like he has a whole documentary crew there of how he's going to lose a bunch of weight. This is before he slapped Chris Rock. And they just like, I don't want to do it anymore. And then he just walks out of the room. And the whole crew, they're like, my wife just had a baby. I'm just the camera guy. I'm just the sound guy. Like, where did he go? Like, what do you mean you just don't want to do it anymore? Like, we devoted the next 2 years of our life doing this project with you. And you just, I just don't want to do it anymore? And like the shockwave that it sends to everybody else that's been supporting this guy. Well, I just don't want to do it anymore. And like 500 jobs just fucking evaporated. Yeah, the fucking industry might fucking come after you because some of these assholes are trying to protect the jobs of all the people that work there. I don't know. Maybe that wasn't the specifics of his job. But I do see that happening a lot. And then having, the point is like, do you think somebody just fucking attacked you out of nowhere? Because if you want to cash that coin in, you get about one of those per 100 years. Yeah, for no reason, somebody just came out of nowhere and just started attacking everybody for no reason. Not even Hitler did that. Hitler had a whole backstory of why he felt he got pushed into that from World War I. The Germans getting fucked over, his people. Like, there's a whole backstory. Like, you can see it coming if you're looking for it. It's not like he just woke up one day and went crazy and attacked everybody for no reason. Did the industry just really attack you for no reason? They're still angry, delusional assholes, but were you standing right in the fucking way, pissing them off? I bet you were.
Now, there's probably a bunch of people at Comedy Central and Viacom and all these places that have no idea what I'm talking about. They've all either quit or been fired or got Me Too or something. It's going. And there's a whole bunch of new young people there, and they're probably looking like, what is he talking about? They may not actually know what the happened to me. So I'll tell you what I'm talking about. Go downstairs to your accounting department, open the books, see what that show made, and look at what you paid me. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You're going to pay me. I am inviting you to come with me and work with me. And let's fight against that terrible, terrible feeling that you made me feel together. We can fight together and work this thing with Chappelle Show out. Or I can just take it. Thank you.
You see the double sided with people is like that the bad feeling that it gave me. Let's work together. So he's trying to reason with the people, right? It's the corporation that he's upset. He's not mad at any one specific individual. He really can't. You know, he's going to keep moving that onto the thing. And then he's also making a good point. He's like, go down to the room and look at the sensory. Look at how much that show made and how much. That's a really good point. That's definitely, that's what he was hammering on and got a lot of good traction when he's like, hey, look at the numbers. They're fucking ripping me off. They're ripping people off. And people are like, okay, I can back you. When you say like, hey, you should know what's in the hot dogs, or it's the same monster of how it eats and how it fucks, it's the same as the meat. Like everyone's like, okay, all right, okay. When he's like, these specific numbers right here, everyone's like, okay, I can join in. And that's what the poor intuition at the top, they're like, it sounds like they're crying wolf all the time. And the tribe is like, I think you might be onto something, but I can't go. It's like a cop with a search warrant. It's like, well, like, look, you got to be able to prove it. Then I can get my boys. We can jump in. We can go take care of it now. One thing with the NI is it feels like this, you know, or the intuition at the top. It just feels like I just lost in a maze. Like I know what's going on. I know I'm in a maze. I know I'm in a trap. But it's like I don't know the exact sense. Was it? What did they say? Was it two lefts and then a right, or was it three lefts and then a left, or what was it exactly? And so there's this feeling of this trapped mazeness, and so now you're wandering through again, still not being afraid of the dark, in the sense of like it's like I know I'm in a maze. I went. I signed up for this. I know what's going on. I joined the corporation. I want to be a comedy guy. I know this is the beast. But the fear and the scariness is in the little frustrations of I can't quite remember what. And the one thing they talked about is like when he did a deal with the company, he's like, oh yeah, I forgot to, and I just assumed I didn't have to sign all the little SI paperwork on the contract to protect me from getting fucked over later. Turns out you fucking do. Turns out you got to do all that little fucking SI, or it's gonna fuck you over later, because then you come around the corner and you're like, oh my god, what the hell is this? Like, I'm not prepared for this. And this is, again, the fear of, like, the intuition at the top of, like, some sensory crazy-ass problem. And you're like, I'm completely not prepared. I completely have no idea what to do with this thing in the sensory. Now, I know that I'm in his castle. I know that he's in here somewhere. I know that he's killed everybody else. I know that he's probably... But I just can't do anything about it because I don't know how to maneuver my way through it. That's the general fear the intuition at the top is having. You'll see it everywhere if you're looking for it. Here's just him and Gail going for a walk talking, and you'll just a little bit of spookness of he's randomly afraid of raccoons. Again, understands raccoons, but that sensory comes out of nowhere, shocking and surprising.
Are you ever out here at night walking?
Yeah, I'll walk at night, especially when I first get back from the road. It's nice out. Scary, too.
Why?
Raccoons, you can hear them like rustling in the woods.
You scared of raccoons?
Yeah, very much so. That's an irrational fear that I just have.
So if we want to get to you, Dave, get a raccoon?
Yeah, I'm not scared of them like if I see them out close, they freak me out. They're a little too bold. They got those hands.
Just some random goddamn sensory.